That's a picture of my mom, Charleston Watson. Gosh, I miss her terribly. She passed away about a year ago. Weird name, I know. Her dad's name was Charles, and he was kind of hoping for a son so he could name him Charles Jr. Well, he had a girl, so somehow out of that came Charleston. Most unique person in the world. After my dad passed away, we would literally talk for hours every single day, way before daybreak, because we were both early risers. Had some great discussions. She was a diehard Democrat, so you can just imagine. There is no question, though, that if she were alive today, she would be yapping away about this transgender thing. Now, my mom had some interesting words for things. Like, for instance, she would never say penis. Her word was doodle lacquer. And so she would be going on and on about how somebody with a doodle lacquer would go into a women's restroom to use the bathroom. By the way, when she would come to visit in Chicago, she would laugh her head off and we'd have fun discussions because there's a famous road in Chicago called Wacker Drive. So you can imagine where we went with that. But this whole transgender thing brings up another issue. We're here at Mother's Day. And so if you really want to be politically correct, you have to agree that a man should be able to receive Mother's Day gifts if he feels like he's a woman. So I hope you remember that with people in your life. And then, of course, to take that further, I've wondered and even thought about the fact that I haven't thought before that gays and lesbians have already been dealing with this. I mean, think about two men that have adopted kids. How do they answer the questions of their kids on Mother's Day? Is one of them a woman, or I mean, how does that work? Same thing for lesbians on Father's Day. Also reminds me, I read an article years ago, had nothing to do with sex, but a person who had been abused by their parents said that we should abolish Mother's Day and Father's Day because there are those kids who are cruelly treated by parents, and it just brings up terrible reminders. And that's one thing that bugs me about Democrats, because that's exactly the way they think. They want to extrapolate one person's evil to a whole group in society. They do that freely. I mean, like white supremacists, for instance. There's very few of those. But I'm one because I'm white and from the South. So that's how they do that, and I just can't stand it. But back to this issue, and here's where it lands for me. You see, the whole transgender thing is a matter of right and wrong, good and bad. There are those that don't want to have any morals concerning sex or gender, and I disagree with that. But let me say this, even if you don't see it from the moral perspective, what about the health perspective? There's actual things that are from mental illness, and then, of course, there's mental health. I majored in psychology, and I remember taking abnormal psych, which is a basic functional thing. And there's a particular disease or mental illness. It's called multiple personality disorder. And that's where a person has two or more distinct personalities. Of course, I guess this could never be put in that category, even knowing the fact that the highest rate of suicide in this country is among transgenders, over 20%. It's incredible. But again, being politically correct and showing forth American values, we have to help people accept who they are regardless what it is. I so disagree with that. And lastly, I read on an LBGT website about how to help people, men who want to be women. 4 steps. 1, tell people about it. And if the people don't accept you, you don't need to be around them anyway. And I thought, wow, that's the advice cult leaders give their followers. Step 2, get around people like you so they can help you accept who you are. What? Let me tell you something. The one way to guarantee you will receive no help in life or be able to improve is to say, this is who I want to be. I accept who I am right now in this situation. And of course, the 3rd step is sex change operation. Never mind that a lot of people kill themselves after that. And the last step is just realize it's okay to be who you are. And again, that's where I disagree. Well, I wish Mom were here. By the way, she also went out, and let me tell you, she had 4 sons, raised on a farm, so it's some pretty ugly stuff growing up, of course. But one thing that happened a lot was a fart, and she never once used the word fart. For her, it was fizzle. Mom, I love you. And you know what? To all of you actual women out there who have all the parts to prove it, and you've actually gone through the really tough process of birthing a human being, to you I say, absolutely, happy Mother's Day.